Hi there! Welcome to In the Bed with Shasta Criss. So apparently we're not shooting an in the bed today, it's an in the bag, so we gotta get up to the course. Hi, how you doing? I'm Shasta Criss, and this is what's in my bag. Or cart, I guess. Let's start with my putters. All these white ones are D-line steadies, one primary putter. These other two are mostly just for practice putting, and then a new one for drives and upshots. Really seasoned first flight D-line. It's kind of my go-to upshot disc. I've been throwing this ever since it came out in 2016. And D-line Reef. I use this more for low ceilings. If I need like a really floaty putt that's not going to hyzer too much. Various upshots, turnovers, some drives. A breaker. I use a breaker kind of like how I would use a new steady, except for maybe if it's a really windy, I'll use this more for upshots. Just a nice little predictable fade. If I really crank on it, I can get it to go straight. Mid-ranges. My favorite disc, the Aftershock. I got 5 of these in my bag, all of different stabilities. We have a D-line. This really comes in handy at day law because I like the D plastic. It really grips hardpan a lot better than this Pro Line plastic. And then I have 3 Pro Line Aftershocks from seasoned beat-in, almost the same flight characteristics as the orange one. Very neutral one, and then a new one I just put in my bag that I'm going to start seasoning, but this goes pretty straight with a nice predictable fade. And a Shasta Shock. This pretty much flies just like the new one also. Not quite as much glide. They're a little bit flatter than these other Pro Lines, but when there's a little bit of wind, I'll probably tend to throw this one. It doesn't get as glidey on me. SP Quake. This is my overstable mid-range. Always is going to go left. I can throw S shots with it. Forehand up shots. 225 to about 300 feet. Very predictable flight. Doesn't have a bead on it, so it feels really comfortable with forehands. Comes out of the hand cleanly. When this disc came out a couple years ago, it was a really important addition to my bag. And a little bit faster than a mid-range, we have the Squall. This is the DGA disc I've been throwing the longest, ever since they came out in, I believe, 2004. I've had a Squall in my bag. They're kind of a hybrid in between a fairway driver and a mid-range. A little bit faster and glidier than an Aftershock. Not quite as fast as a pipeline, kind of fits really nice in between these, but it's a very unique disc. I love this one. I've had in my bag for probably 5+ years. Usually mostly like standstills to go really straight up to 300 feet, or really nice turnover shots. If I need to get out of jail, I'm usually throwing the Squall. I can hit really tight gaps, slides really straight on the hardpan, which we get a lot of out here in California. This is a glow version. This one's actually pretty darn straight. I use this mostly just for straight shots. Or if I got a nice headwind, I'll use it for turnovers. And fairway drivers. I have 3 pipelines in my bag. This purple one is one of the first ones I ever got. It's a Pro Line. Pretty understable. I can actually hyzer flip to turn this over. I can throw rollers with it. Standstill straight shots. Really nice turnovers. Blue one's definitely more overstable, more neutral. I can kind of give it a little bit of a hyzer flip up. It goes really straight. This new run of SPs is the most overstable pipelines I've ever had. This is really nice. It's pretty much a flat flyer with a little fade. I'll throw this for hyzer shots because it's got good glide, so it'll keep fighting left. Pipeline's a great, great fairway driver. This is one of my discs I was so looking forward to when it came out. I think 2016 when it came out. I just kind of get more and more in my bag. I love this disc. And then I have a Sail. This is a understable fairway driver. Mostly use it for rollers. I can throw it with hyzer really hard, get it to roll, or I can do really high releases, get it to fly a bit before it rolls. I will use it for some turnovers if it's a drastic right turn. It kind of wants to roll, so if the landing's super important, I won't be using it for that shot. Another one of my roller discs is a SP Rogue. Had one of these in my bag, so 2007. Pretty much have had one of these ever since they came out. Really great distance roller. Put it on a cut angle and it will just go forever. Probably won't even veer left or right, just goes really straight and just falls over. I used to use this more for air shots, for nice laser beams, but now that I throw so many Hurricanes, I have a Hurricane that kind of does that same job, so don't use it for that shot as much anymore. Mostly just a roller disc. My favorite driver, Hurricanes. I have 6 of them in my bag, all of different stabilities, really flippy. This will be my bomber at high elevation. Like if I go to Lake Tahoe, this will be my go-to driver. This is the Proline Flex plastic that came out a couple of years ago. It beats in a little bit fast, so they start off semi-overstable, but they just have amazing glide. And for my arm speed, it's just my distance driver. I have other Hurricanes that won't go as far. They're more distance control, but these Proline Flex are my go-to distance control drivers. I feel like I can control them like a fairway, but get max distance with them. These are all 3, from flippiest to neutral to this one's pretty new in my bag. This one's mostly just flat to fade. Or if I have a lot of room on a golf course like this, I'll mostly be using this because I can rip on it pretty good, get it to get a really nice S shot and get max distance. I have an older Proline Hurricane. This is a pretty overstable run. I can't throw this nearly as far as the Proline Flex. This will be, unless I have a good headwind, this will be my go-to driver into headwinds because I can get it pretty much max distance out of it. Or I really like it for controlled hyzer shots. I love the grip. I can throw S shots with it. It's kind of like a neutral to overstable driver, but I can have really good confidence into a headwind with it. On the opposite end of the spectrum is the SP Flex. These Hurricanes are almost like a completely different disc. They don't have much glide. They really want to get to the ground. So I use this mostly just for shots maybe from the 250 to 300 foot range for spike hyzers. Spike hyzers that I want to get to the ground fast without any glide, or I'll even use it for forehand up shots. I really like this flex plastic because if I get it on a spike angle, it usually just pops and falls right over. And then we have my newest Hurricane in my bag, another run of Proline Flex, the Shasta Tour Series Hurricane. These are that incredible combination of very overstable, but with a lot of glide. So if you have a lot of arm speed, you can throw these things really far with a lot of control. For my arm speed, I really got to crank it over to get it to turn right at all, but I really like it for power hyzers. It still has a glide. I'm really looking forward to getting this disc beat in, so I think it'll become more of a trusty headwind and just eventually masher. And they're in this beautiful swirly plastic that has great grip. This run definitely seems to be more durable than the Proline Flexes. And one last driver that I have is the fastest disc in our lineup. It's a Torrent. This is an SP version. This is a pretty overstable Torrent, but it still has good glide. I really like this on open courses like this where I need to throw big hyzers, or if I really want to skip, it has that wide rim so I can get it to really flare left. Forehand too, if I need to flare it left to right, or if I need to flare it right to left. Always got to have a mini. I have a very unique mini. It gets lost on the ground if I left it, but it's something I made out of copper. It's kind of neat to have something of my other things I do in life besides play disc golf. I like to make things, so I made myself this mini years back. Somehow haven't lost it yet. When I'm traveling, especially in the Midwest, I like to bring some of my home dirt with me. So this is my bag of De La dirt. I got my special little spots that I find it on the course. I like to get a really fine dirt, maybe some decomposed sawdust tree in there. And this really helps me with grip control when it's hot and humid. Tina Oakley of Whale Sacks made me this custom whale sack a few years back, and it actually is filled with De La dirt. So I think that pretty much sums it up. Thanks for listening. And like I said before, I'm Shasta Criss, Team DGA. And don't forget, most fun wins.